Hey guys, this is North back again with another video. Today's video I'm coming to you with a fragrance video which is dedicated to 5 notes and 5 fragrances which highlight that note. I've seen a few people do videos about that, so I wanted to just give my shot at doing it. So let's go ahead and get it going. First note I'm going to mention is incense, and incense it's still one of my favorite notes in fragrances, but it was my all-time favorite thing when I first got into fragrances about 3 years ago, however long it was, that I had like more than 30 incense-based fragrances, not just fragrances that had an incense in it, but incense fragrances that I did a whole month where every day I wore a incense-based fragrance. So I've had Avignon, I've had every one that you can mention. So the one I want to highlight is from the house of Frederic, and this one is called Dawn. This one is from the Desert Gem collection. Dawn was released in 2018. This one has notes of pink pepper, rose, frankincense, oud, oak moss, a couple other notes. And to me, this was just the pinnacle of incense-based fragrances when I smelled it. The Dawn and the Night were two that I didn't want to smell because they were just extremely expensive. Even to this day, this is the most expensive fragrance per milliliter that I've ever purchased. And I still love it. It does have that almost that piney aspect of frankincense, of actual raw frankincense, but it also has a smokiness of burning incense. So for that churchy incense type of feel, I believe that this is at the top of the mountain. Let's keep it moving. The next note I want to highlight is the note of galbanum, and the galbanum is actually another resin. So the ones that are famous for having galbanum are Chanel No. 19. That's probably the most famous one. I can't think of any others at the moment, but the one I wanted to highlight is, this one is from the house of Puredistance, and this one is called Antonia No. 2. So I believe this was the second fragrance out the line. This one is super strong on the galbanum note. Now, Antonia was released in 2010. And this one has notes of jasmine, ylang ylang, orris root, rose, galbanum, ivy, vetiver, and vanilla. And for me, I just started getting into green fragrances. There's Vin Vert, which is another one by Balmain, which is a super strong green galbanum type of scent. However, when I smelled this one, I just fell in love with it. It's strong and potent. It's what I wish Chanel No. 19, even though I haven't smelled the Parfum, I wish it did on my skin. This is an extrait de Parfum. This is a 60 ml size, so it's not the 100 ml. It's not the largest size, but this is the one I wanted to feature for the note of galbanum, because it's a note that I've really began to love. Moving on. The next note I wanted to feature is iris, and iris is still a note that I'm still getting to know. It's still not one of my favorites, even though I like iris in fragrances. I just don't like a lot of iris dominated scents, but I did want to highlight it, and I wanted to talk about from the house of Stéphane Humbert Khôl de Bahreïn. This is one that I wore this past week, and it's one of the few Stéphane Humbert fragrances that I had to have, and it's a super powdery iris for its scent. Khôl de Bahreïn was released in 2013. This one has notes of iris, of course, ambergris, peru balsam, resins, violet, sweet notes, and this is just a great scent. If you like powdery iris type of scents, then you will like this one. This one that I wanted to highlight because it's probably the first one, because I did own Dior Homme Parfum, and I didn't own Intense or anything like that, but I did have Dior Homme Parfum. That one was like super hype, and I did not love that one as much as I love this particular scent. It is a strong one, so go light on this trigger on this one. And this is the fragrance that I wanted to highlight for iris. Let's keep it moving. The next fragrance note that I wanted to mention was just sort of resins in general. But when I think of resins, I generally think of like frankincense and myrrh, but not like incense, but just the distillation of resins. And I felt like there wasn't one more fitting than talking about the famed YSL Opium. I'm not a huge fan of the house of YSL, any of their newer things, but Opium is just a gem. This is the Parfum concentration. I was able to get a good deal on this, and then I got the vintage splash bottle of Opium. Both of these I got for super steals on eBay, but they're just great scents. Great. Cannot remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it may have been like the first sort of themed Oriental style fragrance. I'm thinking of Shalimar, but I don't remember when Shalimar came out. But Opium came out in 1977. This one has a ton of notes, some of which are myrrh, tolu balsam, opopanax, castoreum, benzoin, latinum. It has cloves, pepper, carnation, a whole bunch of notes in them. But only thing with this Opium is that you have to get a vintage one, meaning these bottles that I showed you in the picture, it has to be at least one of those, because the newer formulations of them do not add up at all. Because I did own a newer formulation of the Eau de Parfum, and it's nothing like these. Those are a shadow of the former self. But when I think of resins, this is like the epitome of it, and it had to have been a sort of like reference point when talking about super resinous type of scents. And that's something that along with incense, which will always be sort of like staples, sort of in my particular style of fragrances that I'll be gravitating towards. Moving on to the last one. And the last note I wanted to mention is citrus. I'm a big fan of citrus fragrances. You know, they're extremely easy to like. Also, it's hot here the majority of the time. They're just refreshing. I wear them any time of the year, especially if I get out of the shower before I go to bed. Those are sort of my go-to sort of eau de cologne styles. But the one that I wanted to mention and highlight in this particular video is going to be from the house of Premier Note, and this one is called Orange Calabria. I'm going to go ahead and open this one up on the camera. I have another backup bottle of this one, which isn't open. I had one open, but I forget it, maybe about 2/3 full. I sold it to one of my colleagues because I do have these two bottles, which I got for steals. But this is just the most realistic representation of orange in a fragrance that I've smelled. So here's what the bottle presentation looks like. Just a simple cylinder. But this is just, to me, this is just orange in a bottle. Go ahead and spray it. Yeah, it's just orange rinds, just all the way through. I haven't smelled anything that smells like this realistic. But the notes on this one, there's no release date that I see. This one has Brazilian orange, bitter orange, petitgrain, jasmine, orange blossom, mint, heliotrope, sandalwood. Even with all those notes, the main thing that I get is this super realistic orange juice and orange rind from it. So if that sounds good to you, I would definitely try to check out and sample Orange Calabria from Premier Note. This is the only fragrance from this house that was worth buying to me, and I could have gotten maybe like 4 or 5 of them for a super steal, because I got this one for a crazy price. I wouldn't even tell you on camera. That's how cheap it was. Brand new in the box, so I had to grab a couple bottles. Can't wait to wear this summer. That's pretty much it. So those are 5 notes and 5 fragrances. With these notes that I mentioned, what are some of your favorite fragrances in these particular notes or genres? Please let me know in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Peace.